military actions, a global pandemic, disasters, and persecution.
Well, there you go. These are the topics that the governing body has chosen to be featured in Governing Body Update number 2, Doom and Gloom. But you know what? These were the topics of last month's update and the months before. Where are the governing body updates that build up the congregation, that encourage and build up the rank and file rather than psychologically torturing them? I don't think they exist because you know that's Watchtower's style. But anyway, friends, what I'm going to do in this recap is this update is 22 minutes long, so I've chopped it up. It's all doom and gloom, and what I've done is I've just given you the highlights. So anyway, let's get into it. Mark Sanderson is going to identify the King of the North, of course, right? Because we all know what's going on in the world. Check it out.
The world's attention has been fixed on events in Russia and Ukraine. As Jehovah's people, we are not surprised by such events. We're well aware that Russia and its allies fill the role described in Daniel chapter 11 as the King of the North.
All right, well, maybe some of you may remember this book that was published by the organization in 1958, Your Will Be Done on Earth. Notice in the box. In the next year, the new Germanic Empire was begun. William I being declared Caesar or Kaiser. The modern King of the North was becoming identifiable. It talks about alliances and all ridiculous details. Shortly after the reestablishment of the German Empire on January 1st, 1871, the interests of this King of the North began to clash with those of the modern King of the South, the Anglo-American duo world power. It goes on, friends. You are welcome to pause these slides and read this nonsense. Notice paragraph 9 in the box. It says, in the early days of the revived German Empire, in fact, from 1877 onward, Jehovah's dedicated people of his sanctuary class were openly declaring in their publications that the Gentile times or appointed times of the nations would end in 1914. The next box, Kaiser Wilhelm, as well as other worldly rulers, treated the message of Jehovah's sanctuary class concerning the end of the Gentile times in 1914 with contempt. 1942 in the book The New World. Notice the box near the arrow. Therefore, today the King of the North is the religious totalitarian world power which claims the right to rule the earth in an absolute way. Notice on the right in the box, friends, Satan, the prince of the demons, is the father of lies and is the prince of this world, said Jesus. This explains why both these kings are set against Jehovah's theocracy. If Satan is the father of the lies, and the governing body members are channeling this entity that they call Jehovah, then really you have to think, who is this Jehovah of Watchtower? Because the governing body members can't get it right, and Jehovah, therefore, can't get it right. Is he not powerful enough to ensure that his followers get it right? Makes you wonder. Let's move on to the November 1st, 1993 Watchtower. Paragraph 6 in the box. By 1914, the role of the King of the North had been taken over by Germany. Paragraph 7, the Roman Empire is the King of the North. Notice paragraph 11 in the orange box. It says, since the 1st century, Jehovah's temple has actually been a spiritual one with its holy of holies in the heavens and with the spiritual courtyard on earth which the anointed brothers of Jesus, the high priest, serve. Friends, let me point you to 1 Corinthians 6:19, which says, know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you? Well, I don't know about you, but I think that I believe the Bible before I believe the Watchtower publications. The Watchtower publications want you to believe that the governing body members serve this spiritual temple in the heavens. But the Bible tells us that as Christians, we are the temple. Of course, the temple was destroyed right after Jesus, that Passover lamb, died. The ultimate sacrifice gave his life. So why was the temple needed anymore? It was destroyed. We who serve Jesus, are the temple, friends. Don't believe this nonsense.
When the governing body first made this identification at the annual meeting in 2018, we mentioned that the king of the north had already taken possession of Crimea. When reading Daniel chapter 11, it's not surprising to see that the king of the north is interested in other territories. Certainly, this is the time to keep on the watch continually and to maintain our Christian neutrality.
All right, friends, so let me ask you something. Do you think that what's going on in the world between Russia and Ukraine, do you think that that is about Jehovah's Witnesses? Because that's what Mark Sanderson is leading his followers to believe.
As of February 28, we have no deaths, but one reported injury among our brothers in Ukraine. Dozens of their homes have been damaged. Thousands of our brothers have fled areas of military conflict. We're keeping you, dear brothers and sisters, in Ukraine and Russia in our prayers.
Jehovah's Witnesses and the governing body members are praying for the brothers in the Ukraine, but what about the hundreds of thousands of other people? This is not about Jehovah's Witnesses, friends. The Jehovah's Witnesses are not the only ones suffering there. All you have to do is watch the news to see that this is much bigger than the persecution of Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't see the word Jehovah's Witness in the news coupled with Ukraine and Russia. This is all in their minds. This is the Jehovah's Witness propaganda that is used to enslave the indoctrinated to the organization. It's not about them.
We're doing everything possible to be sure that you'll have the needed spiritual food as well as the necessities of life.
So Mark Sanderson says that they're doing their best to provide the necessary spiritual food. I'm wondering if this governing body update is a part of that spiritual food, because it's psychologically torturous to the indoctrinated. Wait till you see. I'm sure you guys are aware of what's to come in this governing body update, because it's the same. Watchtower has a history of providing dangerous, terrifying propaganda. And I'm going to show you from Mark Sanderson himself. Check it out.
During the week of February 21, we had 3 significant court decisions. A court in Ust-Abakan ruled to grant parole and release to 70-year-old Valentina Baranovskaya. Sister Baranovskaya has been in prison for the past 12 months. The European Court of Human Rights issued 2 significant judgments concerning our brothers in Russia. The cases involved searches and police detention affecting various brothers from 2010 to 2012. The court ruled in our favor and awarded damages to the 15 brothers and sisters who were involved in these cases. In total, the government of Russia will be required to pay nearly 100,000 euros. The court noted that the public ministry of Jehovah's Witnesses is a fundamental right that a public authority should not interfere with. In many countries, the number of COVID-19 cases is dropping. Some governments are starting to relax or eliminate various restrictions. We hope that conditions will allow us to resume more of our theocratic activities in person. Yet, we want to maintain our cautious approach. The governing body has directed branch committees to monitor the situation in each part of their branch territory. Each branch committee may initiate or expand the pilot program for in-person meetings when it can be done safely. If we can return to the Kingdom Hall, will we be ready to do so? Effort is required to attend meetings. Consider the example of Jesus' family. To attend a yearly event, they had to walk some 60 miles or 100 kilometers through mountainous terrain from Nazareth to Jerusalem.
60 miles from Nazareth to Jerusalem through mountainous terrain. They forgot the crocodiles, friends. Here they are, they're going to guilt the indoctrinated who don't want to return to the kingdom hall. Seriously, do you think they really want to? Okay, maybe there are some who miss the fellowship, but seriously? Do you think they want to go back out in service again?
Our joy in being at the kingdom hall with our dear brothers and sisters will far outweigh any initial inconvenience.
Well, I would like to ask Mark Sanderson why he feels that going back to the kingdom hall would be inconvenient for the rank and file. They never referred to going to kingdom halls as an inconvenience, at least not that I know of. I'm wondering if it has anything to do with the fact that the kingdom halls have been sold, and maybe now they have to travel farther than they had to in the past. And frankly, with the price of gas these days, that's going to be pretty inconvenient. The lack of time that the rank and file have because they're working, they're providing for families, and now maybe they have to travel 45 minutes to and from a meeting a few times a week. I don't know. Time will tell.
Remember the warning recorded at 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. There we read, "Keep your senses, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, walks about like a roaring lion, seeking to devour someone." While the devil doesn't cause all our problems, he's always looking for a way to use them. He would love to use the stress and isolation of the pandemic to weaken our faith or to sidetrack us with his propaganda.
Friends, isn't that what the governing body members do? They instill so much fear in their followers. These updates, I've been recapping these updates for a couple of years now, and they're all about death and illness and the pandemic and disasters. How does that upbuild the rank and file? How does that give them hope? Instead, they're more and more enslaved, they're more in bondage, and they're more terrified. That's exactly what the governing body members do.
What can help us? Note what's stated in verse 9. "But take your stand against him, firm in the faith, knowing that the same kind of sufferings are being experienced by the entire association of your brothers in the world. No matter where we live on this earth, we are under attack. But when we meditate on what our brothers and sisters in other places are dealing with, it can help us to see our challenges differently."
Jehovah's Witnesses are not the only ones suffering in the world. They're not the only ones suffering throughout the pandemic or what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. Think about that, friends. It's not an attack on the Jehovah's Witnesses.
So far this service year, our brothers have been affected by over 120 disasters. Typhoon Rai, locally known as Odette, devastated the Philippines. Sadly, 4 publishers died, a dozen were injured, and over 2,000 were displaced. And can you imagine? Over 1,700 of our brothers' homes were damaged or destroyed. One brother lost his wife and 2 children. 3 brothers and a child were injured. Over 2,000 were displaced. And over 400 of our brothers' homes were damaged or destroyed. Heavy rainstorms and mudslides hit Brazil. Unfortunately, one of our brothers and his 2-year-old son were swept away by a mudslide. The father survived despite serious injuries, but tragically, his son died. sadly, another brother also died. In addition to natural disasters, our brothers also faced civil unrest. Yet with Jehovah's help, we've been able to provide over 81 tons of food to assist more than 19,600 people. Your prayers and generous donations are having a tremendous impact. Thank you.
So let me ask you, who's really providing for these brothers? Is it Jehovah, or is it the local brothers who are donating their time, their skills, their money, providing food? Who is doing the providing? Because frankly, if Jehovah really was protecting them and providing for these faithful, good-for-nothing slaves, then why did they lose their homes in the first place? I just don't get it. So Sanderson next goes into showing you these heart-wrenching stories of these people who have been affected by these disasters. Notice the music that they use that intensifies the emotion.
I sincerely thank Jehovah for the material support to help me return to my normal life.
Thank you is not enough to express my appreciation, since I was among those who were helped to have damaged houses repaired. The brothers really helped us.
Jehovah did not abandon us. He helped us. On the very next day, the brothers contacted us and provided us food and helped us repair our house. We're so thankful for Jehovah's help and for providing us our needs so that we can continue with our lives.
I sincerely thank Jehovah and his organization for the love they have shown us during this time that we became victims of the volcanic eruption.
It's like Jehovah has taken us by the hand, caring for us, and saying, "Do not be afraid, I will help you."
Thank you so much for giving us this house because our house burned down.
The condition that we left our home in and coming back and seeing the work that the brothers did for us.
You will never understand just how much it means to know that we don't have to do this by ourselves.
To really experience Jehovah's hand and his love.
So now, of course, the governing body members feel that the rank and file need to meditate on the trials that faithful Jehovah's Witnesses have been experiencing since 2018, 2019, and 2021. Can they not come up with anything else to report on in this update? We've seen it before. The military raiding the homes. How many times are they going to show this footage? And what's the point? You're going to see exploitation of children here. It's shameful.
On January 25th, 56-year-old Anna was sentenced to 6 years in a penal colony.
Our trials and hardships began on June 12, 2018, when authorities searched our home. And then we didn't see Alexei for 11 months because he was in the pre-trial detention center. The judge sentenced him to 3.5 years in a general regime prison colony.
When our home burned to the ground in the middle of the night.
In October 2020, the children and I got COVID. And just recently, we came down with COVID for a second time.
In July 2021, our home was searched. And on January 25th, 2022,
The court sentenced her to 6 years in prison. We were not even allowed to say goodbye to each other.
In January this year, he was sentenced to 7 years in a correctional facility. At the end of last year, my mother died, unexpectedly from COVID. So the two people who are dearest to me are no longer with me.
And then he wrote in letters that he cried because he was so happy that he had heard me. My faith had only been made stronger. I've started reading the Bible every day. Also, I've taken a big step toward Jehovah. Even too, I dedicated my life to him and was baptized.
We are persecuted, but not abandoned. We are knocked down, but not destroyed.
All right, so Mark Sanderson reads this verse in 2 Corinthians, and he wants the rank and file to believe that this verse is written about the persecution of Jehovah's Witnesses. Friends, I have to show you this verse. I have to put it into context because the Apostle Paul wrote this to the Corinthian church, the congregation of Christians. I just want to show you what this verse is all about. Check it out. We're going to start in verse 4. In whom the God of this world has blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of what? The glorious gospel of Christ should shine on them. This is not about Jehovah of Watchtower. This is about Jesus. Look at verse 5. For we preach not ourselves. Does it say we preach Jehovah? Does it say the governing body? No, it says Jesus Christ the Lord. And ourselves your servants for Jesus' sake. So when verse 9, which is bold, says that we're persecuted but not forsaken, cast down but not destroyed, they're talking about Christians. Christians in the first century, they were put in the arena with the lions. They had to hide. They were hiding in caves. That's what this is talking about. It's not talking about Jehovah's Witnesses in Russia who are being persecuted because they're been declared extremists. Let me just show you the next couple of verses. Look at verse 10. Always bearing about in the body what? The dying of the Lord Jesus, that the life also of Jesus might be made manifest in our body. For we which live are always delivered unto death for Jesus' sake, that the life also of Jesus might be manifest in our mortal flesh. I've said this before, friends. Baptism is a picture of the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. That's what baptism is. It's not about being baptized into the Jehovah's Witness organization. It's all about Jesus. And Mark Sanderson here is using this to try to lead the indoctrinated that this is about them. It's not.
Keep your senses. Be watchful. Our adversary, Satan the devil, has filled this world with his satanic propaganda. Be cautious. Take your stand against him. Continue to listen to the voice of our fine shepherd, Jesus Christ, and his appointed channel, the faithful and discreet slave. And we have our worldwide brotherhood to support us. No matter what trials lay ahead, we have everything we need to remain faithful to Jehovah.
All right, that's it. This is just too much. I don't know what these governing body updates are all about, friends. They're all about doom and gloom. They ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they're not. This is what they're all about. They're all about enslaving the rank and file, terrifying them, shattering their mind with fear so that they can fill their minds with their propaganda. They can serve them, give their lives for them, give their money over to them. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. But this is what false prophets do, right? Deuteronomy 18:22 says, if a prophet of God, now these guys in channeling God, that's filling the office of a prophet, wouldn't you say? if one of their prophecies does not come true, that they're not of God. They're not of the God of the Bible. And what does it say? Don't fear them. False prophets wield their power by fear. That's what we're dealing with here, friends. Anyway, that's all I have to report. I wanted to let you know on a little bit of announcements here that there is a Witnesses Now for Jesus conference coming in beautiful Dunedin, Florida. I will be speaking at that conference, and that is the weekend of March 20 and 21st. It starts on Friday, it goes to Sunday. And so I'd love to have you attend, or it will be on the Witnesses Now for Jesus website. Also, friends, if you go to my website, jwescape.com, go to the little 3 lines at the top and click on Bible Studies, you will be able to view our Jesus is My Mediator Bible study that we conducted last summer. If you're not aware, as a Jehovah's Witness, they teach that Jesus was not your mediator, only for the anointed. So learn what that's all about, what it means for Jesus to be your mediator. It's more than just praying through Jesus' name, friends. So anyway, that's all I have on Governing Body Update number 2. I wanted to thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day.